Today on General Hospital, Chase's testimony gets him suspended. Curtis and Trina learn all about Portia and Isaiah. And Alexis gets an anonymous tip at the hospital. Ava stops by to see Portia, who tells her friend Alexis subpoenaed her to testify. Today, Ava advises her not to panic, as all Nina told Sonny was that she had a motive and had no proof of anything. She tells Portia to say as little as possible when she's put on the stand. In court, Justine tells Dante that Alexis has called Portia to testify, and she wonders if it has anything to do with Curtis. In the seating area, Curtis chats with Trina and Kai, who continue to put up a front that Trina is there to support Kai. Brooklyn and Chase arrive as he is taking the stand, and he seems bothered that Dante is here today. Brooklyn asks him to choose his words wisely on the stand. Drew, Alexis, and Willow confer, and Alexis plans to prove that the PCPD arrested the wrong person. Chase is called to the stand, and Alexis asks him about his relationship with Willow. He goes on to admit he had concerns about Willow becoming the main suspect, voiced them, but the department did nothing. He then began his own private investigation, believing Willow is innocent based on her character, the lack of evidence, and the evidence against the other suspects. Alexis asks how many suspects the PCPD had initially. Chase answers 8 who had questionable alibis, and many have strong motives. Alexis asks for his take on Willow's arrest. Chase says he believes Willow was prematurely arrested, and other suspects weren't examined. He brings up Curtis' arrest without naming Curtis, saying he was released, but not because the evidence against him was disproved. He believes this trial is a miscarriage of justice. Justine objects that the PCPD aren't on trial. Alexis asks why Chase believes Willow is innocent. He explains there is no concrete proof. There is no evidence placing her at the scene of the crime, and they can't prove how the gun ended up in her room. Turner cross-examines, asking Chase whether in his investigation he was able to prove Willow was innocent. Chase could not. Chase steps down, and Dante orders him to meet him at the station. Now Portia and Ava arrive, and Alexis calls Portia to the stand as Portia is sworn in. Drew panics and asks why she is putting Portia on the stand. Alexis says it will help Willow's case. Alexis questions Portia and asks her if she's ever used her access to the hospital records to falsify a test result. Portia admits she has and explains why she tampered with Heather Weber's results. Alexis asks if anyone found out, and Portia admits Drew was one of the people who found out, and he blackmailed her. Portia goes on to explain that Drew wanted Curtis to use Aurora Media to pull negative coverage about him. Alexis asks if Portia hates Drew. Portia says she does, but she did not shoot him. Alexis asks if she's been to the Quartermain estate, and Portia says she visited Monica several times a month. Alexis asks if she knew of Edward's gun collection, but Portia answers that she didn't. Alexis asks where Portia was when Drew was shot. Portia tries to avoid the question and cries, "Please don't do this. You won't get the answer you are looking for." Alexis pushes, and Portia finally reveals she was in Isaiah's hotel room that night. Portia explains that her marriage was over and that she had been leaning on Dr. Gannon. Alexis has no further questions, and Portia cries, "Trina, Curtis." "I'm so sorry." Trina runs out, and Kai goes after her. Justine says she is satisfied with Dr. Robinson's testimony and has no further questions. Curtis looks at his wife and shakes his head. Outside the courtroom, Trina vents to Kai that her mother betrayed her dad, proving again that she's nothing but a liar. Portia shows up, and Trina tells her mom to save it, as she doesn't want her lame apology. Curtis then appears and asks Kai to take Trina home, and so they leave. Curtis then asks Portia if the baby is his or Isaiah's. Back in court, Alexis wants to call her next witness, but the judge decides to adjourn until after the new year. Drew snaps at Alexis. That was a disaster. As Justine heads out, she lets her know that someone will be in touch about the extortion accusations. Happy holidays. Drew tells Alexis this is her fault, but she says he shouldn't have blackmailed Portia. Drew says she ruined Portia's life. Alexis tells him not to act like he gives a damn about Portia. Drew snaps that she can forget about spending time with Scout over the holidays while she figures out how to turn this mess around. Laura, who is serving up some 80s glam and hair, meets Martin at the Metro Court for lunch. After she has just finished shopping, he's surprised to learn she got him something. She explains she is angry how he treated Tracy, but he's her brother, and she loves him. Lori invites him to her place for Christmas dinner. Across the way, Tracy dines with Michael, who appreciates her covering for him in court. He thinks they can both relax now. But Tracy doesn't like that Alexis could call her back. Michael still feels she's in the clear. After their lunch concludes, Tracy heads over to Martin and Laura's table. She congratulates Laura on her election and the sale of Sunny's Piers. Tracy then brings up what Martin did to her, and Laura pushes him to apologize to Tracy. Martin gives her an emotionless apology, saying he was wrong and that Monica deserved better. Tracy says if he were really sorry, Martin would stand up to his boss and get the Quartermain heirlooms back. Martin says he had nothing to do with what Drew did, and he doubts Drew will change his mind about them. Tracy orders him to try, so he storms off to find Drew, mainly to get away from Tracy. Meanwhile, Brooklyn finds Michael settling the check for his meal, and she vents to him about what Chase said on the stand, which has put his career at risk. At the station, Dante demands that Chase explain himself and what he said on the stand. Chase says he told the truth, but Dante says he undermined the department and jeopardized the trial. Dante says he's tarnished the badge he's wearing, and maybe he shouldn't be wearing it. Chase says the same about Dante. Chase says Willow wasn't going to get a fair shake by Dante or the department, and Dante purposefully steered the investigation away from Michael. Dante snaps that Chase is out of line, but Chase says he has constantly focused on Willow, and they didn't thoroughly investigate Curtis. Dante says the traffic video footage was so damning. Tell him that he didn't tamper with that evidence. At the Metro Court, Laura tells Tracy that she disapproves of what Martin has done to her. She asks how things got so ugly between Martin and Tracy. Tracy doesn't remember and hopes he has finally learned his lesson. Brooklyn continues to vent to Michael about Chase. Michael tells her not to let Willow ruin things between her and Chase. Too late, especially given the way Willow was looking at Chase when he was testifying on her behalf. At the station, Chase says he already told Dante that he didn't tamper with the footage. Dante says internal affairs will have to talk to him about his investigation, and he suspends Chase. Chase hands over his badge and gun and storms out. In Kai's car, Trina cries that she was so focused on her dad and Jordan that she never thought her mom would be the one to cheat. Then she realizes her mom could be pregnant with Isaiah's baby. Outside the courtroom, Portia admits to Curtis that she doesn't know who the father of the baby is. Curtis doesn't see her coming back from this with Trina, and to leave their daughter alone until she decides to reach out. Portia cries she's sorry about this. Curtis believes her, but he also doesn't give a damn. He walks off. Portia collapses in tears, and Ava shows up to support her. Willow and Drew leave the court and are bombarded by reporters about his extortion of Portia. He has no comment and basically drags Willow through the crowd. Back in court, Alexis is on the phone with Suzanne when a man hands her an envelope. She opens it and reads it. It's an anonymous letter saying, on the night of Drew's shooting, Michael was at Drew's house, and Tracy Quartermain saw him. Merry Christmas.